From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of afternoons in LALATE, and I am really excited you're here. Great news across the board for a third stimulus check. Yes, a sixth wave of stimulus checks was confirmed by IRS just minutes ago, and they're on their way by direct deposit if you didn't get your third stimulus check. 4 stimulus checks, those monthly, reoccurring stimulus checks, are now happening, and I'll explain in this video why. Breaking news from Wall Street about economic data that signals the economy's rebounding, but not at the rate of growth that we were worried about. Then, big news from the Republicans. As their counterproposal comes in, I'll explain what their counterproposal means for those monthly stimulus checks. Also happening is surprising details as Wall Street crashes at the final hours of trading today. Did the president cause it? He did. And what was the word that caused it? Taxes. I'll be going over the big details of that. And then the incredible great details as a series of Democrats are fighting tooth and nail to get the major SSI reform that you're desiring and that you're owed to raise your benefits for the first time in nearly a generation. I have all this incredible great news. I'm so excited you're here. Let's get to it. This is the biggest recording you're going to hear this day, and potentially the first one that doesn't go offline or doesn't crash. This is Afternoons LALATE. Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? Wall Street crashed at the final hours of trading today. Unhappy with the news that came out of Bloomberg News about what President Biden wants to do. He wants to do incredible raising of taxes, and no one's happy about it at all across America. I'll have all the details about that later in this recording, but that's next year. We got some really good news for this year, at least to start. Let's get to it. But if you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Come on. This is the channel to subscribe to. We're approaching our 1-year anniversary at the end of this week or next week, April 25th, trying to get to 400,000 subscribers. Thank you for this incredible, great run. We are just started, and we are about to hit it out of the ballpark. So become part of this member, become a subscriber. Also, like this video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. You'll get all those big PDFs you're going to hear in this recording. All right, let's get to the breaking details. A lot of great news before we cover that horrible stuff for next year. The great news to start is third stimulus has a confirmed 6th wave of $1,400 third stimulus checks that just went out today. I'm just sort of shocked by this. I had the graphics on my screen for all these waves, and I almost started to remove them just yesterday. So, I thought we're done with the waves, but we aren't. Another wave. So let's wave hello to wave 6. It's not on this graphic, but wave 6, after a 2-week delay, after hiatus, after, a vacation, we are back with more stimulus checks for the third stimulus package. Congratulations. So if you have not gotten a stimulus check under the third stimulus package, this may be yours. Go to irs.gov or search online. The breaking details were announced just minutes ago. These are direct deposits and also mail checks. Congratulations. All right, let's cut to fourth stimulus. Fourth stimulus is happening, folks. Really great news. Those monthly stimulus checks between now and at least the end of the year, because 2 major events that could ultimately have sidelined those stimulus checks went to the wastebasket today. Number 1, bipartisan support. It's not even in the wastebasket. It's outside the window and down the street at this point. I'll be going over why the Republicans' counterproposal is not even bipartisan. It's not even anything. And also, economic data came in today, and it shows we're recovering, but not at a rate of growth that would show this economy fully rebounded before they call for the vote. Here's what you need to know. Fourth stimulus is the infrastructure bill, or the jobs plan, or the Recovery Act. And those stimulus checks would start in the month of July, because that's when the vote is. July 4th, says Leah Schumer and Speaker Pelosi. And those stimulus checks would start in the month of July. First month that would be paid is July in July. And then you get a check every month, and it would continue month after month thereafter. What you need to know is that the stimulus checks are going to happen. Let's go over the details first about the checks and then the breaking news that gave the incredible support for the checks today. First, who gets the check? If you make less than $75,000, this is you. Household of 4 or less, this is you. SSI or SSDI, this is you. So how much stimulus checks are we talking about here? If we're referring to the House plan, they're proposing to give you a stimulus check every month for the rest of the pandemic plus 1 year. So there's 6 more months in the pandemic, then you would get a stimulus check for 18 months. Senators would pay you a stimulus check to the end of from now to December, about 6 months of checks. The House members are progressives. The senators are more movers and shakers. And what is the monthly amount of the payouts of the checks? House members, $1,000 a month. Senators, the amount is unknown. But while the House members want to pay you about $18,000, the senators want to pay you about $12,000 in just 6 months. So less money, but a lot faster, nearly a year faster. $2,000 a month would be $12,000 for you. $1,400 would be $8,400 for you. How would you get the money? Who would get the money and how would it land? Let me go over all those details. The money would start in the month of July. The money would pay in the month of July. And the money may come by a debit card because that's what Senator Harris and Senator Sanders proposed in 2020. A debit card you would get and then would be replenished with money every month. Now, what you need to know is that you were clearly with this channel last year in 2020 and have seen how 2020 people didn't want to give you a lot of money. And you may see these sums of money, say, it's just so large. I don't know if I could see that happening. Here's what you need to know, is that 2021 is turning into a totally different ballgame. And we learned in the last 24 hours, in the 5th stimulus package in September, the president will ask for $24,000 to be given to children. Yes. The president under the 5th stimulus package wants to extend the child tax credit currently under the 3rd stimulus package, paying them $3,600 a year now for 5 more years. So they would get 6 years at about $4,000. This is money that you have never seen of the likes on this channel. It's an enormous sum of money. And what's important for you to understand is that this money is really, when you look at your money, when you look at the money at stake for the viewers of this channel, it's a lot of money compared to 2020, but it's not a lot of money compared to what the president wants to spend. So the big news as we start the afternoon is that forced stimulus is happening. Why? Because of a series of economic data that was released today and because of the Republican counterproposal. Let's go over the Republican counterproposal first. The president said, I want bipartisan support. I want bipartisan support. Everyone wants bipartisan support, well, except us, because bipartisan support doesn't give you a stimulus check. And over the last 4 weeks, the Republicans said, we'll do $600 to $800 billion. We won't give you climate. We'll reduce the infrastructure. And the president said, come to me with something in writing and come and meet with me, chat with me, come and meet with me. Today, we learned what happened. After all those negotiations and meetings, the Republicans came in with their counterproposal, and it was less than they even had suggested over the last 3 weeks, meaning that after talking to the president, they actually gave him less money. Not a good sign for the president. They're not giving $2 trillion. They're removing climate. And this graphic was from 2 days ago. They're not offering $600 to $800 billion. That's what they were offering on over the weekend and last week. Guess what they came in today? In the $500 million range. No deal. No deal. So here's what the president is doing and isn't doing. He has to do a reconciliation process. He absolutely has to do it because he has no Republican support whatsoever for $2 trillion. Number one. Number two, he has to start the reconciliation process 2 months out before July because there's a timeline. Number three, he's going to try to look like he is still chatting with them to the 11th hour. But I got to tell you, he absolutely knows he's going to recon. I mean, he's showing you that he wants to do bipartisanship, but he absolutely is going to recon. Now, the other big great news for forced stimulus was today's economic data. Remember, the biggest concern that I have always had for forced stimulus, viewers ask me, is it coming? Are we absolutely going to get forced stimulus? I said yes, so long as they get this bill done before the economy rebounds. And if the economy rebounds faster than anyone anticipates, that could derail forced stimulus. Today we learned that's not happening. Great news. Now, not great news for people who are unemployed, but the numbers that came in for unemployment this morning showed that the rate of growth of recovery of this economy is not accelerating month to month, meaning we saw a massive resurgence or growth in March, and we're not speeding up any faster now in April. We had worried because last week we saw the new jobless claims drop 250,000 people in 1 week, 250,000 people. And so people were worried we're going to drop another 250 this week or another 200,000 or 100,000. Nope, we didn't. Here you go. We only dropped about 30,000, 20,000 people in 1 week. We relatively stayed flat. The new unemployment data released earlier today showed that the unemployment claims remained relatively flat. Not much change across the board, exactly where we were the week before, which signals that stimulus needs to be done. Forced stimulus needs to be done because of this graphic as well. The continuing unemployment claims remain flat. 17.4 million unemployed people in the country, previously 16.9. So a flat number. These numbers are what's going to give you stimulus checks, people. This is what's going to give you the biggest payout you've ever seen on this channel. 17.4 million Americans unemployed and 8 million jobs missing. If those numbers stay high like they are, and as they have stayed high through July when they called for a vote, you got those stimulus checks. It's as easy as that. And with that, it's really important to understand that forced stimulus is happening. Well, what's the other big exciting news? The other big exciting news is that finally someone is ready to reform SSI and that whole Social Security Administration. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, Veterans benefits, you have seen my commitment to you. Over the last year, when this channel launched and I had just a few hundred subscribers, I made a video. And that video went viral, and it's very, very hard to have a video go viral in the financial space like this channel covers. It went to 3 million views for a channel that had a couple hundred viewers. Why? Because I spoke to you, because no one was speaking to SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and Railroad benefits about their needs and their wishes and what needed to be addressed. Well, I stayed on subject of hashtag SS200 all along, and now I have the incredible great news that it's actually happening SSI reform in September. In September, the fifth stimulus heats up. What's the fifth stimulus? The fifth stimulus is the next stimulus package that will be called the Jobs Plan, the American Jobs Plan, or AGP. And now the Democrats, not the president, but the Democrats, have written the president that they are demanding SSI reform in the fifth stimulus package. I'm going to go over all that reform in just a second, but let me tell you broadly what it is. Increasing your benefits, increasing asset limits, new benchmark of inflation, then removing the income exclusion and removing the marital penalty. All right, let me explain how this money works. It's very, very straightforward and very easy. So let me explain it one at a time. First, they would raise everyone's benefits up to a new, big, huge, bigger number. And that would be your new number going forward. You would never drop lower again. This would be your new number. Raise everyone's benefits up to a new high number. Depends on the person where the number would be, but a much higher number than you are now. It's a much greater, bigger number. That would be your new number. That's the first thing they're going to do. Second thing is that every December, your benefits are reassessed based upon COLA. Now, COLA doesn't move, so your benefits don't move. They're always the same year to year. Well, what they want to do is tie it to inflation. Inflation's great because inflation grows 1, 2, 3, 4% per year. And so that means that your benefits would grow 1, 2, 3, 4% per year. You would absolutely know that your benefits would always grow every year, and you would always know that you would never be lower or the same or where you were the year before. You would keep on getting higher year after day. Then third, they would remove the asset limit that currently restricts how much cash you can keep on hand. And then the next one that absolutely is incredible, and viewers are really excited about this one as well, is the income limit. They're going to remove it, throw it away. They're going to start all over again. They're going to say, you know what? We should allow you to be able to work if you want to work. If you want to work, you can go work. And you can still stay on benefits, and will allow you to make a good sum of money, $12, $15, $18, $20,000 a year, and you can still stay on benefits. And guess what? We're going to tie that to inflation also. So as inflation goes up, you can also make more money and keep that money and still stay on benefits. And finally, get rid of the marriage penalty. Incredible, great news. Now, you're going to ask when, how much, and how is this going to happen? Okay, so again, this is fifth stimulus. It's again going to have to go by reconciliation. I don't see the Republicans doing this one either. Mitt Romney introduced a counter bill, which you as a member have a copy of now, came out this week. And I don't see the Republicans doing this. So it has to start in September as part of the fifth stimulus package. And that fifth stimulus package by recon will take about 2 months. So you'll see these benefits really kick in for this incredible SSI reform in the fifth stimulus around the end of this year. And away we go. What a big, exciting, great set of news. Stimulus checks from third stimulus, more are coming out, sixth wave. Wow, great news. Also big news, SSI reform, more money for you lifetime, a whole new universe of better money, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, plus 4 stimulus checks for everyone. 4 stimulus checks for everyone who makes less than $75,000 and SSI beneficiaries. And then we have Ron Wyden, who wants to pay $6,000 a year if you're a PUA person who's going to see PUA expire in September. He wants to pay you $250 a week for 6 months every year, so often as you need it, if you have impact on your livelihood because of whatever's going on. Incredible ideas. And coming up later, there's I have incredible great news from Elizabeth Warren about the $2,400 SSI and SSDI, about the wealth tax. I have big news about what else is happening for student loan debt forgiveness. But then I have this. Very good news is bad news. Wall Street crashed today. And why did Wall Street crash today? Because of a Bloomberg report that is not citing the president on the record, but it's not referring to events of this year, but what's anticipated for next year for the president, in which the president proposes to really hit people with an enormous amount of taxes. Do I think it's going to happen? It better not. And what is it? I'll tell you all those details. Yeah, get ready for this one. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. The money you can get money right now, not 5 weeks from now, not 5 months from now. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. Stay with me. See you after the commercial break. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. and then afternoons LA Late at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late. And the excitement continues 2 hours after now with Evenings LA. That's a big broadcast tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's followed by LA Late Night, our irreverent, laugh-a-minute, humor-only broadcast 2 hours after that. I look forward to see you on both of those broadcasts. How are you? It's a big afternoon to LA. I hope you're having a beautiful day. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. We're approaching 1 year anniversary. What a run it's been. I want you to be part of this family, so make sure you subscribe. We're trying to get to 400,000 subscribers. Give us a subscribe. Also, like this video. 3,000 likes. Let's do it. Also, if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. This is a day to give a like to this video, folks, because this computer's going... This software crashed. Everything was going wrong. But I stayed dedicated to give you the breaking news across the board, and we're hitting it right now. The other breaking news happening today is that the president said to insiders, reported by Bloomberg News, that he's seeking to do an enormous amount of taxing next year. Under the fourth stimulus package, the president has not detailed yet, beyond the corporate tax, what other taxes he wants to change. Well, a new report out of Bloomberg said that the president's considering raising capital gains taxes next year, not by a few percent, but doubling them, literally taking them from the 20% range to the 40% tax bracket. What's important for you to understand is that this is not good news for you, no matter who you are, because Wall Street immediately said that this could signal a looming stock market crash. What does this mean? If the president's seeking to do a massive revamping of the tax system so that people are taxed at 40% tax brackets and 45% tax brackets compared to 20% in 2021, that people will start to sell things at the end of this year if they think there's a likelihood it'll be passed next year. And that means you could see massive Wall Street crashes of the markets and crypto and everything else sooner than you ever would have thought this year. This was an unexpected risk that no one had embedded into the risk of the markets. Remember, I always cover risk and I always cover how to anticipate things. These risks of massive sweeping taxes where people have to pay 40% of what they made in investing in a Tesla stock to the federal government is something no one anticipated just a few days ago. So I will stay on top of that news. Again, that's for next year, but it could signal market crashes this year. All right, the other big news is that Elizabeth Warren is pushing and pushing hard. And she's pushing for student loan debt forgiveness, MSC, SSI reform, and guess what she's also pushing for? She's pushing for that wealth tax bill. Remember, when she was on the campaign for president, she said that if you elect her, she will give you $2,400 of SSI and SSDI, and she would do it by paying for it through a wealth tax bill. Well, that wealth tax bill gets some traction next week. Yes, the bill introduced by Elizabeth Warren in January, as detailed on this channel, goes to a conference, congressional conference next week, or hearing, I guess is the correct word, next week. And so suddenly the wealth tax will be front page news. Remember, the wealth tax and SSI and SSDI $2,400 is different than those other things detailed in this earlier part of this recording that are absolutely going to happen, which are the SSI reform, where your benefits are raised, you have a new benchmark, so you get more money every year thereafter. The income limits, that's in addition to this. It's also in addition to the stimulus checks for stimulus. So hopefully that's all clear to you. Her letter is very important. As a member, you want to really use her letter to your benefit because it details what her positions are in the Congress, including Special Committee on Aging. Moreover, on page 2, it shows one of her lead staffers' email addresses if you want to professionally reach out and express your opinion. Again, that's a publicly published letter. Also making big news today is the student loan debt forgiveness. Now, Miguel Cardona was supposed to prepare that memo about student loan debt forgiveness last Friday, and we're almost a week late now. Has he forgotten the letter about forgiveness? Wall Street has not forgotten his forgetfulness of the letter, and so Wall Street did a new report today. It pooled 500 congressional leaders to ask what their opinion is on the bill and also the executive order. Of the 500, 66 responded. So we're working with 66 responses. The numbers were very good. 37 to 66 said that they would support it. Good, 50,000. The vast majority of the rest either said no comment or they said they don't like the flat 50,000. They want it based upon a benchmark or something like that. 5 members are still paying off their student loan debts. 27 members did have to take out student loan debts. 6 would support a smaller amount. And then about 10 said that they would support something that is tied to a fluctuating number, that it wouldn't be just a stock 50,000. Meantime, Texas A&M is dealing with a really surprising news. They have discovered a new variant to COVID-19 called BV1 that appears to be resilient to the antibodies. Wow. What is that? Really surprising. Now, the GOP's proposal really signals where we're going for negotiations this year for the GOP. It's important to sort of understand the impact of these negotiations. The press secretary today talked about the president, listening and wanting to talk. And yeah, whatever. That's not really what's going on. What's going on is the president is really being smacked back with very lowball counteroffers. And they're actually getting smaller over time. The Republicans were 600 to 800 billion. Now they're at 500 billion. If you see something similar and something reoccurring, you're correct. The only thing that mirrors 2020 to 2021 is that Republicans are still staying at $400, $500 billion packages. Second, third, fourth. They went 400, 500, 300, 500, 600. And the president is at 200, 2 trillion, 3 trillion, 4 trillion, 2 trillion. So they're very light years apart. When you look at the fifth stimulus package, I had told you that the Republicans, when they do the counterproposal to fourth stimulus, were really going to come in low because they see he wants to spend $6 trillion in 9 months. And I told you they're looking at 600 to 800 billion because that's what they said. Well, they came in even lower. They came in at nearly 500 billion. What's happening tomorrow that could impact your stimulus? American Express. American Express reports corporate earnings tomorrow, and boy, that's a really exciting one. I've been detailing that since the weekend. And American Express could really show you where this economy is going. Netflix really struggled this week on its earnings for subscribers. It came much lower than anyone anticipated. But Honeywell and American Express are the big ones tomorrow. And Jim Cramer has said, when you look at the American Express earnings report on Friday, it will really signal where the growth is in this economy because it represents so many different parts: travel, finance, and consumer interaction. Let me give you the big update where we are now going into evenings at LALATE. First, third stimulus checks are still landing. We learned today from IRS that a third stimulus check is going out by direct deposit this week as Wave 6. We had almost a 2-week break between Wave 4 and Wave 6. So big surprise. So watch for that direct deposit. Number 2, 4 stimulus checks, monthly stimulus checks, look to become a reality today, as 2 competing forces that could ultimately derail them went off the tracks themselves. Bipartisan support, not even anywhere close to happening ever. Second, economic rebounding at a faster rate in the month of April than March, not happening. We showed in the new unemployment claims numbers today that we remained at the same growth rate of recovery. The new housing starts number released also this morning, but not directly on point for purposes of unemployment, was not a particularly good number either. There's also a new series of reports released today that says 2 other factors could really derail the recovery of this economy. The inability to get inventory out of the ports. There's a lot of inventory that's not coming out of the ports and is in distribution channels, not being able to deliver inventory. And second, the missing amount of semiconductors and chips is causing a lot of products not to come to market. You don't have products, you don't sell products, the economy doesn't rebound. And there you go. Meantime, SSI reform is coming in the fall. It would go in the 5th stimulus package, which would start in September as a 2-month bill under recon, and you would see this change that would change your life forever. It would raise all your benefits to a new benchmark, to a new amount, and then it would be raised annually based upon how big the inflation rate was that year. It's incredible relief that you want. Finally, Wall Street crashed at the final hours of today as news that the president wants to keep on taxing and keep on taxing in an enormous amount next year. It's nothing that anyone wants to hear that the president wants to take 40% of your earnings because you bought something and it went up in value in a year. So that may signal an enormous market crash, Wall Street crash, crypto crash, and ultimately could destabilize this economy later this year. People fear that next year they're going to be taxed if they get out of those positions, meaning they'll sell this year before that happens next year. I'll have more about that and additional details coming up on Evenings LA. So make sure you join me. That double dose of great programming is coming up later. LA Evenings are 2 hours from now, and then LA Late Night. One informational show and one humor show. And with that, thank you for joining me. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. We're trying to get to 400,000 subscribers, and like this video. If you missed videos early in the day because of strange programming times, I know. We went earlier on Mornings LA, and then Afternoons LA's other show went offline as I hit the power cord. Something like that, software cord. So if you can go back and watch any videos you missed them today, it would be greatly appreciated. Meantime, I'll see you on Evenings LA. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.